Hello. I hope you all are well. Today we're going to sit down, chat, cozy up, and just talk all things pregnancy so far. I'm a bit over halfway through, well into the second trimester. I feel like I'm in such a sweet spot of pregnancy where I still have quite a bit of symptoms and subtle just differences. I feel like every day my body's doing something new and I'm just like, oh, okay, we're doing that now. But overall, I just feel really well, and it's just felt so special, and being able to feel our baby move, that has just added a whole other layer of just excitement and realness and connection. So really thankful. I gathered some frequently asked questions and we'll just run through them. First and foremost, I wanted to just share specifically my symptoms at this point and any cravings. We have really just, it's so, I've said this before, but it's so crazy how the difficult and like uncomfortable parts of pregnancy, and I just see this as a theme in motherhood in general, they become so minuscule compared to the joy. But I will say I have definitely some uncomfortable moments. I feel like the biggest symptom that is uncomfortable for me is acid reflux. I actually started getting acid reflux in the first trimester, and basically, thankfully it feels manageable, but it's just affected my appetite so much where I definitely am more gravitated towards bland food and like creamier, comforting food opposed to like acidic and spicy food, which for me, that's very out of character. Typically, I love spicy and a ton of flavor, robust flavor. So that has been very different for me. But yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's not as bad, but thankfully the nausea overall has gone down immensely. First trimester nausea is no joke, at least for me. Thankfully, I didn't physically get sick every single day, probably around 7 or 8 times in total, so that was great. But I just had like a feeling of nausea that was just accompanying me throughout my day, so that's really nice to have that lifted for the most part. I did get sick the other morning, but I think I ate something that had a little too much flavor the night before, and then I downed some grapefruit juice, and I think that really just made my acid reflux come to play and made me nauseous. So stuff like that, there's just always something new. And I will say my bump, I'm just so excited about it, and I just love my bump so much. And I just love being able to hold our baby and feel the movements. But I will say the skin is getting a bit itchy. Thankfully, it's nothing too extreme, and when I put some body butter or balm on it, it definitely calms it down a bit, so that's wonderful. I'll link the body butters that I'm using. I've had so many recommendations from my mother friends that I'm just so thankful for. The amount of wisdom that surrounds me is just so comforting and makes me feel so safe and supported. I'm just so thankful. And a big tip that my mom friends shared is to apply your belly balm or body oil everywhere, like everywhere in this section. So start like up here, because things are changing up here as well, and then go all the way down to your hips, because those are also possibly expanding a bit. So that was really good advice. So I've been trying to do that almost every day, and especially when I feel those little itchy sensations from the stretching. That has been really helpful. But we had our anatomy ultrasound, so that was really exciting. That was our last big appointment, and then next month is when we'll start having more frequent appointments, which is fun. I'm just so thankful for the redemption that's happened with going into the OB and the office, because if you didn't know, I did go through a loss with our first pregnancy, which was terrible, like the most heartbreaking experience. And now that I'm kind of, time has passed and a lot of healing has happened, it is just so incredible how much perspective that experience has provided, and like this tone of gratitude that I feel has just made this pregnancy even more joyful and miraculous feeling. So I really am grateful, which when I was in my deepest, darkest moments, like I dreamed of feeling this way. So it's really just so beautiful to like feel like you're closer to the sun and just in a better place. I'm just really thankful. So we'll talk a little bit more about pregnancy after loss later in this video, because that of course is a big part of our story. But the ultrasound was so exciting because basically I could feel our baby move, which I don't know if I'm posting the gender reveal before I'm posting this Q&A. So I'm trying not to say the gender, but who knows, I might just accidentally slip it out. I'm really excited to share the gender with you. I have a cute little video idea I want to do, so we'll see, one thing at a time. But yeah, on the ultrasound we basically could see the baby, of course, as the tech was like going through getting all the measurements for the little arms and the legs and the head. Oh, it was so incredible. But as our baby was moving and I could feel them move at the same time, it was so cool to be able to feel it, but then also see it on the screen. It was just really, really neat to simultaneously have that experience. And I feel like the past few days, actually, I've felt more like gusto with the movements. They've been a bit more rambunctious, which is exciting. Oh, and another little tidbit, some people ask this question too. They're like, do you think the baby's gonna look like you or your husband? And after our ultrasound, our OB said that he thinks our baby looks like me, but obviously it's still early to tell, and I'm excited either way. I'd be so happy if our baby looks like my husband. I mean, I think he's so handsome, and it is funny, the mystery of like, oh, what color hair will they have, what color eyes, what, all the different traits that they inherit from us and how that will mix together. It's just, I'm just so excited to meet them. What is the best and most difficult part of pregnancy so far? I feel like this is a big question because, again, the whole experience, it kind of just like blurs together, and I feel like I've made it such I've put an emphasis on making it joyful, just because I like to make things joyful. I like to make things intentional, special, joyful, and for me, I really try to put an emphasis on the good parts because I just know how immensely special this opportunity is, and I just want to be able to look back and be like, I made the most of that, so I really have been trying to focus on the joy. But I would say the hardest part is really trying to push away and rid my mind of any anxious thoughts and fears, because it is such a massive life change and you love this human inside of you so deeply. And there's just so many different fears and anxieties. I definitely had to stay off social media, especially in the first trimester, to just like, I did not want to hear horror stories. I didn't want to hear about loss anymore, which of course that was part of my story, and it's a very real thing to me, but I just didn't want to hear, I became really vulnerable, I felt, or delicate to other people's experiences, and I just had to kind of guard my heart for a bit because, of course, I really appreciate mothers' experiences, but for a certain time there, I just felt too delicate to it. So I really just tried to stay in my bubble and build my tool belt, if you will, of ways to sort of cope and turn away anxiety and fear. So that was definitely difficult, and it still is a constant muscle I have to exercise to try to truly surrender, truly focus on channeling peace. One of my biggest goals as a human, but especially as a mother, is to just have a calm, peaceful presence and not be easily stirred or overwhelmed, just be steady. So for me, this whole experience has been an incredible opportunity to try to really grow in that characteristic, and again, just work towards that goal of becoming a peaceful, calming mother figure, because that is truly what I want to embody. For the best part, I guess it's top of mind because it's been the most exciting thing recently, but feeling our baby move has just been, it's just one of those life experiences that I never want to forget, because it's so insane. It just blows my mind, and it's been really special, and also just being able to daydream about our child and just think about, of course it can be daunting because you're like, life is about to really switch up, but overall I'm just so excited, and just being able to talk about them with Brandon and just daydream. I think that has also been really special, and this is something we've really hoped for and prayed for many years. So being able to be living in it again, we're just trying to savor it. Next question, how did you know you were ready to have kids? This feels like such a big question because of course everyone's on their own timeline. There's so many layers. It is such a big decision, but sometimes you get a surprise. So I feel like I'll just share my personal experience, but of course it looks different for everyone. For us, we have been together for 12 years. We're high school sweethearts, which is really so sweet. I'm so thankful for our story, and when we met, we've really truly been able to grow up together, and I'm so glad, like, growing up we've grown together, and just our dreams have aligned really nicely throughout the years. But even still, even though we've been together so long, we've been married for 5 years now. And for us, we really did just hope to have those years of marriage where we could prioritize traveling, prioritize our careers, and just really experience growth. So personally, I feel like I'm really thankful for those years to really solidify our marriage and create that bond that's sturdy and just really solid ground before adding in another addition to the family. So we really kind of always hope to have those years of just us two, and then probably about the last year and a half, I really started to feel the urge where becoming a mother became much more on the forefront of my mind and a lot more present in my daydreams, and it just was sort of like a natural flow and progression. So we started to pray about it more and just really think through what that would look like, and again continue to dream. And another common question is, how did you prepare your body for pregnancy? So of course there's a lot of like mental dreams and preparation and thoughts, but how did you also prepare your body for pregnancy? And this is just a topic, I'm sure it's pretty evident, but motherhood and pregnancy in general, I just could go on and on about it. I always have just been so fascinated. I love to hear different stories about pregnancy and birth and everything. It's just, I feel like in another life I would be a midwife or a doula or something, because I really just find it so fascinating. But for preparing my body, as I began to daydream of becoming a mother more, I started to really ask questions and desire to know more about my body and reproductive system, because my knowledge of it was so tiny, and it's still, honestly, I'm learning something new every day, truly. And a lot of it too, I feel like there is so much science and research, but it is just one of those awes of the world, and just like God's creation is just like, we only know so much, right? But it was empowering for me to try to learn about reproduction, egg quality, learning about how to prepare your body with nutrition and, you know, stress management, everything like that. I found really inspiring to learn about, to try to feel, again, empowered for this next stage of life. So I will link a few of the books in my reading list of different resources that I really enjoyed and was able to kind of have more clarity and find tools to how to prepare your body. And that is something I will say that was humbling, because I spent probably like 6 months before we began trying for a baby, eating really well and taking prenatals and doing all of the things that, you know, by the book that they recommend, but I still experienced loss. And that is just something, again, that was humbling, but still, I'm so thankful I prepared my body in that way, because thankfully I was able to heal really quickly. And I do credit that to, of course, answered prayers and God's faithfulness, but also I think it was really beneficial that I spent so much time learning about nutrition and trying to really set up my body for success as much as possible. So I will link those resources, because again, I'm not an expert by any means, and please talk to your doctors, but I'll also link the prenatals that I've been enjoying and any other pregnancy related tools. Like I know my sister-in-law, when I was experiencing nausea, she gifted me some of these nausea, they were almost like mints. They had like peppermint essential oil and some other ingredients that helped a bit, just kind of take the edge off. So I'll link all of that. I'll have like a resource page down below. But preparing for pregnancy, I did do quite a bit of diet changes, as far as, you know, really making sure I was getting enough protein and trying to implement more fish in my diet and things that weren't necessarily part of it before, and also limiting my caffeine. I am a coffee lover, so I tried to limit my caffeine to just 1 cup a day. And in the first trimester, that was before pregnancy, but in the first trimester, it kind of happened naturally where just coffee did not sound good. It would sound comforting, but then as soon as I tried to take a sip, it just was bitter and didn't hit the spot like it used to. Now I will say, now that I'm further in pregnancy, lattes sound really good. So like a milky honey latte sounds really nice. So I've been having that, which is lovely. But yeah, I try to limit caffeine a bit, which I think was just healthy in general. Just kind of so I wasn't as buzzy throughout the day as well. And it's just nice not to rely on something, you know, just to kind of have some space with like needing my coffee to function. So that was something, and I believe those are the obvious things that I tried to alter. But again, it just felt empowering to learn about, and there's just so much. I think prioritizing nutrition is such a positive way to impact your overall lifestyle, no matter what stage you're in, but especially in pregnancy, where your body is truly creating these bones, organs, and you're getting depleted of your vitamins and nutrients for your baby, which is which is like just again a miracle. But also it's nice to try to replenish those minerals as much as possible. Okay, next question. Will you share your baby on social media? This is such a hot topic, and I think my thoughts around it are still evolving, and still I'm trying to research and just pray about it and really see what we want to do. And I think it's important to normalize changing your mind. I think especially in this uncharted territory, I will probably feel differently in different seasons and different days. But right now, my overall thought is that I still want my content and my videos overall to be similar to how they are. I want to still do the gardening videos, the home decor videos, crafting, travel, all of that. But of course it'll be a little different. We'll have another edition, but I don't want the baby to be like the star of the show at all. I don't anticipate really filming our baby too much. I'm sure I'll post like a family picture here and there, but nothing where the baby is like really the star of the content. I think it's just like a sweet thing that us as parents, we just want to show our baby, because this is the most like proud accomplishment and like the love of your life. You just want to like show them off all the time. So I do, like, that's how I feel about my dog. I'm always trying to post pictures of him because I love him so much. So I think it'll be good for me to just have the group text with my friends and the close friends little thing on Instagram where I can post pictures of our baby, but just keep it more private, because having those boundaries and really preserving their privacy is definitely a priority and really important to me, especially when this is, again, such uncharted territory with social media. It is such a space that's ever evolving, and you know, you hear some scary stuff. So safety, #1 priority. Also, maternity leave after pregnancy. I definitely hope to really savor the newborn season, and I'm so thankful to have a career that allows me to work from home and stay with our baby. And thankfully my husband's job is pretty flexible and he's able to work from home, and he's able to take a leave too, so really gonna soak that up. But I truly have so much fun creating videos and just working on different projects, so I think that'll be a healthy part of my postpartum, just learning how to navigate that. I'm sure we'll have some growing pains, but I do hope to continue to create videos fairly soon after. I mean, again, I feel very naive. It's hard to know how I'm gonna feel, so normally it's changing your mind, but I am excited to get creating again, especially because our baby's coming end of summer, right before all of the fall coziness begins. So I'm really looking forward to having them like be close to me as I'm doing something I love so much. And I think that'll be valuable for them to see their mother like really enjoy different hobbies and creating. I think that, and being creative and using my hands. So that is something I'm excited, but I don't have like a specific, oh, I'm gonna take this amount of time off. I really am just gonna take it day by day and see how we feel. Okay, now as far as birth plan goes, what are we thinking with that? This is another topic that I'm still like trying to keep an open hand with. I do not have a specific plan. I've started a list on my phone of just like, we are gonna give birth at a hospital, so that's one thing we know, but I have like a list of desires at the hospital that I hope to ask for. I do like some more, I guess, natural or less intervention as possible, but again, I feel naive, I don't know. I will say going through our loss was very physically terrible. Like I've never felt my cervix opening before until then, and it very much hurt, but feeling contractions for the first time, and that was just like, in some ways that makes me feel more capable that I was able to go through that really difficult physical experience and come out on the other side and feel stronger. And of course this will be a much different, more joyful scenario and outcome. So part of me feels very capable to potentially not do an epidural and go the more natural route. But again, I feel naive and I just have an open hand with it. We do want to do a birth class. I'd love to hear recommendations if you have a birth class recommendation. We also are in the process of sourcing and finding our doula, which I would love to have a doula. I think that would be super valuable, especially for our first, where again, thankfully I have so many incredible, inspiring moms around me, but still to have someone there where it's their sole job to help you feel more comfortable and capable, and also be your advocate at the hospital for your different desires. I'm all about that. So definitely hoping to hire a doula and just praying we find a good fit and that works out really nicely. But thankfully overall, which I'm sure I'll film another pregnancy Q&A later down the road in the 3rd trimester, so we can catch up on the feelings then, because again, lots of them are still evolving, still marinating on things, but oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. Completely lost it, drawing a blank of where I was even talking about. But thankfully I'm not feeling so fearful at this current moment. And I think another thing I've tried to do is really limit the content I'm consuming on social media and stuff. Like I really want to hear positive birth stories right now. Of course I know that's not everyone's story and that's not always the reality, but I just want to fill my mind with like hopeful and inspiring situations, because it's why are we going to stress about something when I'm feeling more excited overall. Like that'll be when we get to meet our baby and focusing on that, and then we'll work out the kinks of how that's actually going to happen as time goes by. Names. What names do we like? Do we have a name picked out? Naming a child feels like such a big decision and responsibility. So definitely still praying about it, marinating, thinking. But we do have a couple names where we feel excited about. And this week especially, I feel like I got more clarity about the name. And I have dreams about names a lot too. I'll definitely later on probably share like a names we like but won't be using video. But yeah, it's funny the dreams I have right now. My dreams are like so vivid but just so random. So we do have a few names, but again, still thinking. I'll give you like some hints, I guess, but I do enjoy more nature inspired names. I'll just leave it at that, but I really do like more naturey, earthy, more unique, I guess, but also like you've heard of them before probably, so that's where we're at. Nursery theme. I have ideas for the nursery, but I wouldn't say I have a theme. It's again more like naturey, organic, but I also want it to be colorful and whimsical. So that's the overall gist of it, but yeah, not an exact theme. I just have these ideas in my head and then we'll start piecing it together. thankfully I don't feel I definitely am starting to get in nesting mode, but I feel good about focusing more on the nursery in early summer. That'll be a good indoor activity for me to put energy on since it will be getting quite toasty in Florida soon. So that's a bit of the plan, but such a fun project to daydream about. Okay, last little question. This is more so just resources that I've gathered so far that I'd love to share. People asked, are there any books you're reading? And I'll just put right here my reading list. And I feel like for me, I am someone who loves to read and listen to audiobooks and podcasts. So to me, this isn't overwhelming, but I know for some people, information overload can definitely be a thing. And I know personally, sometimes people will ask me, oh, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't. Should I? And it can feel a little overwhelming. So this is not meant to be overwhelming whatsoever, but these are the books that I have on my list that I'd love to dive into, and again, continue to soak up the knowledge and inspiration. Some of these books I have read already, and then some I'm currently in the process of, and some of them I've read bits and pieces, but some of the pieces I felt like wouldn't serve me, so I didn't read those. So that's a bit about what's on our reading list, but I'll put it in sections too of pregnancy, before pregnancy, parenting, and all of that. But that's all of the questions. Again, I'm sure we will do this again in a couple months when the belly's a bit bigger, but really just so grateful for this season of life and for all the support and prayers. And again, I'm just trying to stay so joyful and in awe of it all and truly just soak up every bit of this special time. But I hope you and yours are well, and I'm excited to see you next. Bye. Bye.